Hi, everybody. I'm so excited to see all of you joining us early. I didn't log on until right now because we were just doing some last minute things, but um, love your comments, love your hellos, and your you make me feel welcome. I was telling Alex just now that this is always like right when I start, I always get these butterflies, hoping everything's going to go okay. Then once I start talking, I'm good, and all is well. But I really struggle at the very beginning because you just never know with technology. Do you know what I'm saying? You just never know. So, anyway, we're getting started here, and you are free to comment at anytime over on in the chat section. So, please do that. We're going to wait just a couple minutes because it's just now 4 o'clock, and we want to make sure that we've got everybody on here that wants to be on here. Um, just so we get started with the group. Now I know there's some lag time. There's always lag time, especially across the country. So hopefully um, we've got everybody here and listening. So anyway, thank you all for coming. I'm so grateful to have you here. It's 4:01, so hey, let's get going. First of all, before we begin, as always, if you haven't subscribed to the station, please click on subscribe, that little bell up in the corner. That's important because the bell will give you notifications when we have new content or just when I'm on live. Then it'll tell you that it's coming up. It'll pop up on your feed. So if you can do that, please click subscribe. Also, click like if you like it because the likes always make me feel good. So I don't know if it does anything I think it boosts us when it comes to who's going to see our videos, and I like that. But it's also nice to just see. So thank you all for giving me your like and your. I look at that as a vote of confidence, and I'm really grateful for that. So anyway, I got an assignment for you. Before we do anything, or while we're doing this, if you think of it, we're going to talk today about foundation piecing. Okay, foundation piecing, paper piecing, freezer paper piecing, all kinds of names for it. Have you ever heard of it? First of all, if you have heard of it, have you ever made a block using the technique? Second of all, third, do you like it or not? So, yes, I've used it, or no, I have not, and then you're done. If you have used it and you say, yes, I've used it, but I hate it, why? I want to know why you don't like it. Because my theory is that if you don't like it, then I mean, I know there's going to be some techniques that we just don't, it doesn't mesh with us and we don't care for it. But I think for the most part, those who don't like it maybe had bad instruction. That's what I'm going to say, because I have tried so many different ways to foundation piece. And we've got this tutorial that's coming out that should be out by Monday. I'm not exactly sure. Alex was going to tell us when for sure everything will come out, but you'll be notified when it comes out. And it is very, very detailed. And I'm hoping it's going to convince you that you actually are going to want to try the technique again using some tips that I have that make my experience a little bit better. So that's kind of what the purpose is of our tutorial. But right now, I just want to talk about it. I just want to find out what your thoughts are. If you do like foundation piecing, I want to know why, so that I can pass that along to the naysayers. And maybe there's a reason in there that you like it that somebody else might not have thought about. So if you could please do that as we're talking, if you think of anything, let me know. Have you foundation piece? If you're watching this and you're not watching it live, you're watching it later, you can still comment below and let me know. Yes, I foundation piece. No, I don't foundation piece. This is why I like it. This is why I hate it. Will I ever do it again? Let me know. Okay, so that's your assignment for right now. Secondly, we're going to have a Q&A at the end. So when we do that, when we have the Q&A, you can ask me questions if you want. I'm not going to go into the details of the tutorial because it's too hard to do that here, showing you here. You've got to look at it on the cutting mat, and I've done that on the tutorial. So we'll save those questions for later. But right now, we're just going to talk about the whole technique and the whole process. And so those of you, sounds like a lot of people love it, and I'm really happy. But I'm going to tell you right now that I have got in this tutorial that I've done, I've been doing lots of research about foundation piecing for the very reason that I have people that have really given me the business about why they hate it. And I wanted to find a solution for everyone as much as I could that would encourage them to give it a try again. So that's where the tutorial comes in. Even if you're an advanced quilter, I'm guessing there's going to be something in there that you have not tried or haven't heard of before. So this isn't just for it's kind of a basic instruction, but I really feel like once you take a look at the tutorial, you'll be able to adapt it to more challenging blocks. And then, we'll have tutorials in the future with more challenging blocks. I think that will be really fun. Okay, so that's today. That's what we're going to do. So hang on until the end because there's always so much to talk about. And I have a lot to share with you today. And again, I'm just really glad you're here. Thank you so much. First of all, I want to show you what I bought. Riley Blake has these really cute Halloween fabrics. What am I going to do with them? I have no idea. I couldn't resist. They are so cute. So I looked at them and I thought, oh, I've got something in mind that maybe we'll be able to do in a month or so. We've got Project Linus Mystery Challenge right now, which is really consuming my life. But I've got a couple ideas. And those Halloween fabrics, if you've got a favorite one that's sitting in your closet in your fabric stash, pull it out because I think we might be able to find something fun to do with it. So anyway, that's for later. I just wanted to share a purchase with you because buying fabric always brings me joy, and that's a big one. Okay, welcome to Joyful and Mary Quilting, our YouTube live. I am Mary, and I'm the Mary of the Joyful and Mary, although I'm Mary, not Mery, but I am Mary. So I'm joyful, I'm Mary. So it all kind of works together. Alex, my son, is the behind the scenes guy. He's my boss. He's the one that makes everything run, makes everything work. I do what he tells me pretty much all the time because he knows what he's talking about and he knows what he's doing. So anyway, thank you, Alex, and hi. He's behind the scenes, so he's at home and I'm here. We're a ways away, but technology's amazing and we can communicate back and forth, which is great. So thank you, Alex, for everything. Now, we have had a lot of people that have signed up recently on our Joyful and Mary Quilting website, joyfulandmaryquilting.com. Yay! Thank you. I'm so excited. I don't know where you're hearing about us, probably through YouTube. Maybe people are sharing the page with you. But when you sign up, that's when you get access to all of, that you'll get notified about our new content and our free patterns and our workshops, our tutorials, all that kind of stuff. So it's just an email. We don't email all the time, but we do email when we have something new. And it's kind of a way for you to be able to be in touch with us. You can also reply and ask me questions there. And I am more than happy to try and answer if I can when it comes to quilting. So if you've signed up and you're brand new to quilting maybe, or just new to Joyful and Mary Quilting community, hi, welcome. We are so happy to have you here. And I hope that this is a joyful and merry experience for you. That's our philosophy. Our philosophy is that this is something that we enjoy very, very much. And that's where I want to bring this. We are Joyful and Mary Quilting is not just about sewing seams and cutting fabric. It's about the whole quilting experience from our mind to our hands to our hearts. And I really enjoy being able to share that with those of you who also have that same love for this hobby that I've been doing for I don't know how many years now, 40 years maybe. Ooh, a long time. But I was just a child when I got started, let me tell you. So anyway, I have a couple of announcements. We have the free pattern for the signature quilt is now available on our website. All you have to do to get it is go to joyfulandmaryquilting.com/signature quilt. Just spell it all out, signature quilt. And then you'll enter your email address and it will take you to the pattern and it's a PDF download. Now that's the PDF. It has the measurements. It has two layouts. One of them is a horizontal layout and one of them is on point. It gives you all the fabric needs, the colors that I used, how to put it together, what you can do to make a signature quilt. I have had so many great comments on the YouTube channel and then emails from people who have all kinds of great ideas on what to do with a signature quilt. And I just, whether it's for a celebration or whether it's just being able to write messages to someone or even keeping track of something. If you're maybe writing, maybe you're giving it to someone for a birthday and you just write milestones on the signature quilt that they've experienced in their life. There are so many things that you can do with a signature quilt. So anyway, go there and look at that. And then the video, actually the video, there are 3 videos about the signature quilt. One of them is a short video. The other one is my podcast where I talked about it last week, but the tutorial actually is called tutorial. So if you go to the Joyful and Merry Quilting channel, link will be below. All of our links will be below this when we give you anything so that you don't have to go hunting for it. But if you go to the Joyful and Merry Quilting channel and then go to videos, you'll find that tutorial. And it's actually labeled that it is the Joyful and Merry Quilting tutorial. Okay, so for signature quilts. So look for that if you're interested in making that. It'll be there forever. You may not need to make it today, but go take a look and maybe it'll spark some interest or ideas in you for something that you need to get done. And you've got plenty of time to do it if you're looking now and you don't have that thing in mind quite yet. So that's always been my suggestion, is to start ahead and keep things in check. The second thing, I have a terrible funny story, and I mean that, terrible and funny story when it comes to my second thing. Oh my gosh, you guys aren't going to believe this, but you will, because sometimes I can be a little scatterbrained and crazy, and Alex can attest to that. And this was one of those situations. I don't know if you could say I'm scatterbrained, but it's more that I'm naive. Okay, I don't. There's some things that I just assume that I probably shouldn't, and this was one of those situations. So here we go. The other night, I was sitting in my chair, I was watching TV, I was just, just looking for stuff on YouTube, and I got to thinking I should be quilting. I shouldn't be just sitting here doing this. I like to quilt. This is boring and this is not productive. So then as I was thinking, I thought, it'd be really fun if my friends, because Jane and Patty and I get together and we quilt on Zoom, and it's so much fun and I love chatting, but they were both in bed, I'm sure. And so I got to thinking, it'd be really fun to be able to just have a little quilting group late at night, because I'm sure there are other late night folks like me. My husband was at work. He wasn't going to be home yet for a couple of hours. And so I was just sitting there thinking, if I had some friends to just sit and quilt with, wouldn't that be fun at this late hour? Night owls. Okay, so that was a good idea. So then I'm on Facebook and I posted and I said, is anybody interested in night owl quilting, 11 p.m.? What do you think? And lots of people were up and lots of people responded and liked and clicked on it. And I'm like, oh, this is good. Maybe we can get a group together where it would just be a live like this with the chat. And that part would be okay. But I think that it's really, it would be really fun for me to just, visit and read your comments. That's, that I thought would be an enjoyable evening. So, okay. So there we go. Well, then I don't know if you've ever heard of Reddit. Well, I had never heard of it before because I never did. I heard of Instagram, Twitter. I've heard of Pinterest and Facebook, but I had not heard of Reddit. Still recovering from my cold. Sorry. And so I set up a profile on Reddit, and it's kind of weird because you're an avatar, you're not a real person. And so I felt a little disconnected, but there were a lot of great quilters on there with all sorts of ideas and posting pictures and things. If you haven't been there, you just go to the quilting site, and there was just a ton of great information. And I thought it looked like a good thing. So I thought, I'm going to ask on Reddit and see if anybody's interested in this there. So I went on Reddit and I posted, is anybody interested in the Night Owl quilting group, 11th hour quilting, whatever? Lots of people said yes. And so I thought, okay, well, I'll set it up. So I went on Reddit and I looked up all the information, and it said that I could be the community moderator. I could create a community and I could be the moderator, sort of like Facebook when you create a page. So I did. So I created, I don't remember what I called it. I think I called it the 11th hour Night Owl quilters or something like that. I don't know. I can't remember. And so anyway, I created this group. And then in order to get it to go live, you have to say whether or not this is for children or for adults. And on most of the things like Facebook or YouTube or whatever, they do that so that you don't have, that it's geared towards the group that you have intended. And so I said adults. Well, that was my big mistake, because you know what that said? We're not talking adult quilters like quilters over the age of 18. we're talking adult quilters. And so I'm like, oh no, what did I create? How did I find that out? What I did was I then went into it because I was going to post an update once I created the community. I was going to post an update and say, hey, we're scheduling our late night owl quilting. And I was going to give the time. And when I went in, it said, a big red box came up and it said, are you prepared to view adult only content when you click on this community? I thought, no, I'm not here to adult only content. I know what that is. And I'm not creating adult. Can you imagine what we'd have quilters with adult only content? I don't even know. I can't even wrap my mind around it. So anyway, so I'm trying, oh no, I've got to delete this community, so I go on the website. And in the meantime, Terry comes home. He's sitting next to me. And I told him what I did. I'm like, I've just created this adults only website and Reddit page community. I don't know what to do. I'm trying to get out of it. So he's texting Alex, telling Alex, my son, that his mother has just created an adult only website or, Reddit page. So Alex doesn't know what in the world I've just done. So I go back in and I go into Google and I said, how do you delete a Reddit community? It says it's impossible. You cannot delete a Reddit community. It's there forever. Holy cow. So Joyful and Mary Quilting. Joyful and Mary Quilting is responsible for creating an adult only content Reddit page. I was devastated. I didn't know what to do. So anyway, I mean, it was funny. It was terrible. It was everything. So I went back in again and I did find another thing that said you can take yourself off as moderator and then you're out of the business. And so I thought, yes. So I went in, I took myself off as moderator. I don't know where that site's ended up, but when I went in to take myself off as moderator, I had to click on that red box that said I would be willing to accept adult content. And I already had people that had joined the group. So I'm sorry I abandoned anybody if they were on there and they were as innocent as me when it came to what that quilting site was all about. But we're not doing that. I got to come up with a better way. So anyway, that's my Reddit story. And I remedied it, but either way, I am not into that sort of thing. So hopefully all is well there. But back to the night owl quilters, real live quilters, people who just want to gather together and quilt and aren't interested in the adult only content. Then I did create that particular event. So sometimes I'm such a loser. So I looked at I posted it and we'll send out the notes. But I looked at my calendar and August 28th, mark your calendar, 11 p.m. Central Time. 11 p.m. Central Time. I will be here and we'll do an hour of just hanging out and quilting. So somebody said that they have a hand quilting project they're working on. They'd love to have somebody to just visit with while they're doing it. Other people said, I never can sleep at night. I love that. Some people said I live on the West Coast and it's early for me. So anyway, if this is something you're interested in, I'm going to give it a try. I promise you, if you come, I'm going to give you some sort of a tip just to thank you, a quilting tip to thank you for coming. And we'll keep all that other stuff just between you and me because I'm so embarrassed. Oh my gosh, that was terrible. So anyway, hi Alex. Alex told me hi. I'm sure he said it a while ago. He's sending me this. I'm so excited that that everybody enjoyed it, and there are a few good comments here that I'm excited. When you see the tutorial, they will make sense to you. They don't make sense to you right now, but they will. So anyway, crazy living over here in the Joyful and Merry headquarters. So mark your calendar, August 28th, Monday night, 11 p.m. Central Time. And if you can make it, we would love to have you here. If you can't make it, you can still watch it. It just won't be live, and you can make your comments and just have it during the day. So whatever works for you. Now, most of these lives are during the day. So our late night folks usually miss these. So those of you who are watching live now, you're not being left out. It's just another time to reach another audience. So anyway, that's that. Crazy stuff. So anyway, again, please join me for that. The topic at hand is foundation piecing. Now, foundation piecing there's a lot of people call it all sorts of things. It's called foundation piecing, first of all. It's called paper piecing, which actually isn't a correct term. This is paper piecing. This is, if you can see this is a block that's all the little hexagons that the papers are what you wrap your fabric around. So that's what I've done when I've done this. This is English paper piecing. Technically, paper piecing is just this handwork. It's not, and then you trim all this back and take the papers out. But that's not foundation piecing, but we call it that. So, if you hear foundation piecing or paper piecing, chances are you are talking about taking a piece of paper, marking a block on the paper, numbering it, cutting shapes to match the areas, and then sewing it together. So foundation peeping. See, oh my gosh, foundation piecing and paper piecing, same thing. Okay, so this is a block that I actually foundation pieced, and it's perfect. I must say so myself. It is perfect. That's why I love foundation piecing because it does. It creates a perfect block, perfect points. This quilt behind me is totally foundation pieced. This is a square and a square. This one actually is a square and a square right here. But this is several. There's a square, and then in a square, in a square, in a square, in a square. You just can keep on going and expanding and making it as huge as you want. Or I think these are 10.5-inch blocks. I'm not positive, but I think. So you can see that there's so much you can do with it. There is no way that I could get all these points to be so perfect if I didn't do it foundation pieced. Now, I know there are people, quilters, who can, and bravo. I am truly jealous of your talent because I know that that is not an easy task, but I can't. And this is something that I can do. Now, foundation piecing actually can be like this as well. Now, this is something that it's just strips, it's just pieced together. You piece it together using using a numbered paper, and it's with my lighting, it's really hard for you to see on here, I know, but anyway, this is the paper that has the marked lines and numbers on them, and then in the end, this is what you come up with. Now, one of the things that I found when I first started learning how to foundation piece that I didn't like was, the very beginning, way back when, everything was printed on muslin. So if I had bought this little tiny square of muslin that was marked in a log cabin pattern, and it was hard to use. I couldn't, I wasn't as accurate as I wanted to be with it, and so I still have the little fabrics that I never really used that I bought, of course. But it kinda got me hooked on the technique, and I liked it, and then when people started using paper to do it, oh my gosh, it opened a total different world for me when it came to quilting, because I was able to do what I said, just, create the perfect quilt block every time using paper behind it, to help me get there. So I'm sure you've already said, what it is that you like and do not like, and I'll go through those. I've got them here, but it's written like minuscule on here on my thing. So, as I look, um, there when I started to do the foundation piecing using the paper, the removal of the paper was really a drag. It took forever to get all those little tiny pieces off of there, and some of them, you'd rip and they wouldn't come off, and then they'd shred. And oh, geez, it was just not fun. So I was always looking for ways that I could change that up a little bit, make it a little bit easier. If you've done any of the mystery quilt challenges, I always use a ruler. Always. You can either use this ruler because it's got a good 1/4 inch seam allowance marked, or this one, which is the add a quarter. This is the little one, but there's a big one also that has a lip on there. And that was my go-to. That's what I always used. But I got two other things that I'm going to show you. So there's going to be three ways that you can actually foundation piece that I think you are going to love. Okay, three ways. Actually, there's four. And the fourth one is, and lots of people have been asking me about this, freezer paper foundation piecing. Okay, I squint up because my lights are bright here. Freezer paper foundation piecing. I have done it. I didn't like it very much when I first started, but I didn't like regular foundation piecing very much either. So, that doesn't tell you anything. But when I did it, I was self-taught. I didn't take a class or anything. I just figured it out from what other people were telling me. And It was I thought I didn't think that it did it I didn't think it saved me any time. I thought it was very labor intensive. So this time, when I was trying to figure out how I could explain that to you, I really dug in. I really looked for ways that I could make that work. Now, my first attempt at foundation at making the foundation paper, can you see it? I don't know if I can even show you. Look at that. That's how it came out of my printer. It was awful. I thought I ruined my whole printer. And it was I have a laser printer. I know you're supposed to only do that with an inkjet printer, but I didn't know. And I put it through and that's what I got. So I'm going to take you through all my mistakes first in the freezer paper tutorial. We've got 2 tutorials, the 3 tips and then the freezer paper. I'm gonna take you through all my mistakes so you don't have to do that, and I've done them all. So when you go through, you're not gonna make those mistakes because 'cause you're gonna see what happened to me. And then I'm gonna get you to the point where you are going to create with freezer paper this. And again, 6 of one, half dozen of the other when it comes to which one I like better, but I'm gonna tell you which one, and I'm gonna tell you why. But either way, when paper follows foundation, whether it's freezer paper, regular paper, whatever, I'm in because I think it really does make a difference. And you can choose again whichever technique is best for you when you watch the tutorial. So I really hope that you watch the tutorial. I hope that you take a look and see what it is that you don't like about foundation piecing, and if you don't, and maybe I can help you with that. And then if there are things that you like, I hope I can reinforce that with these new tricks, these new tips, these new techniques that I've come up with. So anyway, that's foundation piecing for me. I really do love each technique. And again, you can decide for yourself what works best for you. But if you are participating in the Project Linus Mystery Quilt Challenge, this is something that may help you with the blocks that we are going to be making this year. So I hope that this gets passed along and that those who are interested and involved will, first of all, sign up, and then second of all, make the quilt with me because I think you're going to really enjoy it. It's really a fun quilt, and yes, there is some foundation piecing involved. Okay, I wonder if you are a newer quilter I did or when you were a newer quilter, let's say that. What was it that would have made your quilting experience better? What was missing? I've been just looking on, where I'm on all kinds of quilting Facebook pages, and there's always new quilters that are showing up that will ask for advice. I'm a new quilter. What can you tell me? And that's like saying, that's so all encompassing when it comes to, teach me how to cook. Well, cook what? It's something that when we quilt can go in so many different directions. So we know the basic tools. I think that's probably one. You need to know the basic tools that you need. As a new quilter, we go buy everything. We buy every product that comes out. I have more rulers than I can even count, and most of them I've never used. Fabric, we don't know what fabrics to buy. Should we buy pre-cuts? Should we buy fat quarters? Should we buy yardage? How much yardage? How much do we need? Do we need extra? Do we need more? Have you ever done a pattern and got to the end and you're a quarter of a yard short and the fabric doesn't exist anymore? Yes, it's happened to me. Happened in a log cabin quilt not too long ago. I used fabric I had and I thought I had enough and I didn't. And I was able to fudge it, but it wasn't the exact same, and that was disappointing to me. So if you can in the chat section, let me know what you think would be good advice to a new quilter. Where should we start? Where is the beginning? What is the place, the jump off point that we need where we just get into the hobby? What do you think if you go back and look at your quilting experience, what would have made it more joyful? Now, I know that there are those that have told me, "I made one quilt, I'll never make another one." I see that all the time, and you probably do too on the website, or I mean on Facebook or whatever, where people will say, "This block was a beast. It was horrible." And you look at it and you think, "Well, that's not really a hard block. Did you have any instruction with that? Because I bet I could have walked you through it." And I think that's kind of where we're coming from here. I want to walk you through it. I want you to take the block or the pattern or whatever and have a joyful experience with it. That's why the patterns that we write, we try and do that. We try and basically give you everything you need so that there's not a lot of fabric waste, so there is not a lot of time wasted, and these are good solid tips that will get you from point A to point B to finished. That's my goal. Now, if you bought a pattern and it's got really terrible instructions, ugh, that's hard for me too. And that has happened to me more than once. I'll buy a pattern, I'll look at it, and they try and get everything they possibly can get into one page. So the directions are all over and the little teeny little pictures of blocks with teeny weeny arrows. And I don't know what they're talking about. So I end up figuring it out on my own and putting it together. But it would be really nice to be able to follow their pattern and put it together. So that's kind of my pet peeve when it comes. If when I first started quilting, I would have had that instruction. I would have had, told what tools are worth it, what tools are not, what fabrics, that whole thing. I think it would have been a more positive experience. Now, as you can see, it's been a long time and I'm still doing it and I still love it. So they didn't stifle me. It didn't stifle me when I struggled and had problems. But there were some things like foundation piecing that I gave up on because I didn't have proper instruction. And I don't want that to happen to you if that's of interest to you. So again, please let me know. I want to know if you were a beginning quilter and now, what would you tell yourself that you either need to do or buy or remember? Somebody posted patience when I asked this question before, and I love that comment because that is number one. We have to be patient with what we do because it's hard to be perfect right off the bat. I mean, there are some people who are. They are perfect. It doesn't matter what they do; they're perfect. And yay for them, but, we're not all there yet. So, again, I hope that I can offer that to you, I can help you. So, let's see, anybody have any questions? We've got the, Q&A going on. I'm so glad that people have learned from my, ways of foundation piecing, and I thank you for those positive comments. Honestly, another one of my pet peeves with foundation piecing patterns that are not my own is the fabric waste. I have watched videos where people have wasted so much fabric cutting just because they're afraid that they're gonna have a space that's not totally covered. So they go way outside the boundaries in order to cut their piece, and then they chop off all those extra pieces of paper, which you have to do. I mean, extra pieces of fabric, and that fabric is worth nothing. And I'm gonna show you in the tutorial just a very simple way to get those pieces to match, to get those pieces so you very little fabric waste around there and it'll still fit. And my patterns do that also. I'll give you those measurements and those things. So please check out the tutorial and please share it with others. I really think that it's going to bring about I think there's a resurgence when it comes to foundation piecing and freezer paper piecing in particular. And I think that really learning how to do it in an easy, concise, and accurate way with little fabric waste is our goal. So that's my goal anyway. So that's what I've tried to convey in the tutorial. Now, the tutorial is basic, just takes you through the basic steps. And again, we will do things that are a little bit more advanced. But you got to start somewhere. We've got to start with those basic blocks and then move from there. And like I say, it's easy to do once you learn those few steps that will carry you through the initial process and then sewing on the unmarked side of a piece of paper. That's the other challenge. But you get used to it. It works. And I think the blocks show for themselves. Okay, so let's see if we've got anything here that if you have a question. Mary Sue. Mary Sue is the one that is, Mary Sue, thank you. I do mention you in the video because Mary Sue is always the one that throws some tips at me and says, "Hey, Mary, try this." And they're always good. They are always good tips. So thank you, Mary Sue. You are truly my mentor, and I appreciate all the suggestions that you give me. And I'm glad I could make you laugh. You make me laugh all the time. So anyway, um, Judy Kane says she uses a particular foundation piecing paper that she purchases to go through the printer. And I talk a little bit about that too in the pattern. I'm going to tell you that with the tip that I give you in the foundation piecing pad tutorial, doesn't matter what kind of paper you use. Okay, it doesn't matter. You can use a paper like a newsprint paper and those doodle pads that you get at the dollar store and trim them down. You can use a paper that's a specialty paper that you pay good money for, that is advertised as a foundation piecing paper, and there are a lot of them out there. Or you can use just plain old copy paper. And I feel like from what I've experienced with it, the results are pretty close to the same. So hope I save you a little money with that. I mean, if you try the technique, I hope that that helps you. There's a there's a tool you have to use in it, but I don't know. I think it works well. Let's see. And lots of good comments. Thank you. The basics, Cheryl. Thank you. That's so true that we need to spend time on the basics. And that's the purpose of my uh, uh, free workshop on the joyfulandmerryquilting.com website, the one how to make the perfect quilt block every time. Give you 5 ways. And I'm telling you, those 5 ways, this is something that each one I use every single time I quilt, saves me time, saves me energy, and helps me really make the perfect quilt block. So if you haven't seen that yet, or you haven't checked that out, go to the joyfulandmerryquilting.com website. It's just watch free workshop and it's right there. You just have to click on it. Okay. Let's see. Oh, good point. Deborah said that she feels like she likes to watch the video, the tutorial videos, stop them, and then rewind them and rewatch. And you can do that on all the YouTube videos. You can stop them and go back and then walk through. And hopefully, everything will be up close enough if you do your full screen that you can see some pretty good detail on there. We try and really focus in on the spots that matter. And so if it goes a little too fast for you, sometimes they do, sometimes when I'm talking, as you can tell, I do talk a little fast. But just stop the video and take a look and then back it up and watch that little part again and back it up and watch it again. If you're still having trouble, ask me. I'm happy to answer questions if I can. So please ask, or maybe we can do some kind of a live like this where we actually focus on something in particular. I'd love to do that. I got to get my camera worked out. We're trying to come up with a camera that I can watch and then flip down, and then we can show what's on my cutting mat. So still in the process of trying to get that together. But anyway, thank you for that comment. That is great. Oh, this is so perfect, Cindy. Cindy said that sometimes it's just you just can't go on, basically. Do you know how it is when you're quilting and you just keep making the same mistake over and over again? You sew something together, you're like, "Oh my gosh, I sewed it backwards." You rip it all out and sew it backwards again. It's like, "Oh my gosh, stop." Go upstairs, or well, I'm in the basement. So go upstairs or go out of your sewing area. Go get yourself something to drink. Go, just walk around a little bit, go outside, take a walk, turn on the TV for a minute, or just put it down for the night and then come back the next morning. I have never had a project ever in my entire quilting experience where when I put it down and came back to it, I couldn't finish it. I always could. So that is such a good point. Sometimes that frustration, our mind just it doesn't shut down, and we just have to do it. We just have to stop and say, "Okay, we're gonna try again tomorrow," or go to something else. But usually when I do stuff like that, it means I'm tired and I need to kind of, uh, regroup a little bit, and usually that means I need to go to bed. So, anyway, thank you for that comment. That is so true. The tutorial, where do we find the tutorial, Pamela asked. It's going to be on YouTube. So it will be, I'm sure Alex will he's almost done with it. We're almost to that point. So Alex, if you've got any update on that, let us know. But it's going to be on YouTube under videos, and then it'll say the tutorial, and it'll be the foundation. There'll be two. There'll be the foundation piecing tutorial or foundation paper piecing, and then there will be the freezer paper piecing tutorial. 2 tutorials. So you can go, they're not very long. Well, a little bit, but not too long. You can still quilt right with me if you want. You can print up a block. any block. You can draw it on paper, whatever you want if you want to sew with me. But basically, what it is just to show you the process. So that's where you find it. You will find it there. You will also find it on our Joyful and Merry Quilting .com website. We're going to have it there too. So those people who aren't YouTubers that aren't into that, we will let them know through our website that they can come and check it out on YouTube. So it's in both places just because we want to make sure that we don't skip or miss anybody. So I hope that that helps. Tomorrow morning, Alex says he's hoping tomorrow morning the tutorial will be ready. You will get an email as soon as it's ready. So again, I keep saying this, but this is why I say it. Go to the website, joyfulandmerryquilting.com, and register your email address. And that way you'll get notification, or subscribe here at also, not or, both. Subscribe here. This, they don't email you when there's updates. You just get your little bell has a little red line on it. So if you want to really be notified of, when we're going to have a live or whatever, Alex always sends out that information by email. So that's kind of the most secure way to get it. The other way you might not see it, but it will be here on the YouTube channel under videos and on our website. As soon as he has that done, you'll get that email. Okie dokie. Let's see. Oh, Judy, I'm so glad that you able to follow the directions. That is kind of my goal. I sometimes I look at them and they're so detailed. And then I have people that'll say I'm wasting paper because I put too much instruction on my paper. So then I take some of the instruction down. There are always people that have different opinions when it comes to how patterns should be written. I'm exactly the same way. So I try and just do it my way. And you can skip over what you don't want to follow if you already know how. If you are a good foundation piecer, you don't even need to read the instructions. All you have to do is go to the pattern and go ahead and print it out. But you might want to look at the measurements because I always give you those measurements. You don't have to figure those out yourself. So anyway, the Christmas in July pattern, several of them do have foundation piecing in there. The Joyful Gnome, the Oh Come Let Us Adore Him, those both have foundation piecing in them. So, if you're doing that, and also the placemat and the table runner and the placemats, those do as well. So any of those, I do a lot of foundation piecing. And if you watch the tutorial, I think it's going to make a lot of sense to you once you then look at the pattern and you can see how to put it together. Okay, let's see. Uh, Lucille. Lucille is my friend, and she says I'm the only one that calls her Lucille. Everybody else calls her Lucy. I just know her as Lucille, and so that's what I call her, but she's always my cheerleader and my supporter. So I love you, Lucille. I thank you for your sweet comments. You always make me smile. Okay, so I'm excited that you're all looking forward to the tutorials. I think that, are there any other questions? Do you have anything else that you'd like to ask about anything that we've done? I'm happy to answer them here. Otherwise, I think I will close with my tagline that I am always trying to be joyful. And I hope you see that in our videos and in everything that we do. I am always trying to be joyful, but I will forever, thanks to my mom and dad, always be merry. And I'm sure that when I was a little kid growing up and I kept telling them that, my name is boring. Mary's a boring name. And then I'm sure if she was around now, she'd be happy to see that I'm using it in a positive way instead of complaining that it's a boring name. But anyway, so I will definitely see you again. Tomorrow is our uh, um, podcast. And that's already been prepared. So I do talk about foundation piecing in the podcast again, if you're interested. Plus, the announcements and things that are going on. That was taped previously. The live has all the information today, but there's a lot of info in there as well that I think you might be interested in. So please check that out. Please share. That's always fun to know that you're sharing what we've learned and what we've discussed with others. And we welcome everyone into our joyful and merry community. We're happy to have you here, and this is what we love. We love the hobby. We love quilting. We love each other, and we are grateful for the opportunity to be able to share this hobby in such a positive way. So thank you all for your positive comments, for your positive vibes. We are thrilled to be able to present and give this to you. I'm grateful for my son, Alex, and for all the help that he gives me in order to be able to do and make my dream come true, which is what I do here. So, and then your support gives me that oomph and that push that I need to keep going. So thank you all. And Joanne, no way. No way. Oh my goodness sakes. I knew we were sisters. I just knew we were. So anyway, thank you all, and we will see you again tomorrow for, the podcast. But again, next week, I'll give you the I'm gonna be out of town next week, so I think our live is gonna be on Tuesday. I'm not positive. We'll send you out an email, so look for that. And then, don't forget about, our late 11th hour, night owl quilting on August 28th. So I will see you then. Thank you, everyone, and have a wonderful, joyful, and merry rest of your week and your weekend. And we'll see you again.